Okay, let me tell you about my four books before something I've never done before. My first book, It's the Liver Stupid, which I started about 10 years ago, was based on to start with MSM, and I've talked about MSM before, but it's covered well in the book, and the book has quite a bit about it and about spirituality in it, but it's mainly about healing, and it has a good deal of web discussion in it. But it's fairly big book. It's like over 270 pages or something like that, and 11 by 8.5 by 11. So it's a good sized book. Okay, this book, to go on about the book, talks about three different systems that I recommend especially, but it goes on for about a whole lot of things after that. And for three systems include MSM at high levels, and meaning at least 2 tablespoons a day for anybody over about 25. And the MSM, you just buy horse MSM, not MSM for people, instead of distilled MSM. Then I talk about undenatured whey protein isolates. Undenatured means it hasn't been heated up, and the best form of it I know of is from New Zealand, but getting this into your diet is a very big deal. The next thing I talk about is not eating any sugar that you can help. I mean, obviously things like fruits have sugar in them, but the key issue is to keep the sugars down. So no grains, no bread. Those are the beginning of the whole thing. And no form of wheat if you can help it. So you stay away from pizza. No Italian food, Southern Italian foods anyway. Northern Italian foods are great. But anyway, the book is available in Amazon.com, and that's always been my best-selling book. Okay, next book, Methylation Awareness in You. This started with the understanding that methylation cycles are so important, and that was given to me by somebody on the web in the group that I belong to. Never was really had that much understanding of it, even though I'd read about it when I was writing my first book. And the methylation cycles, there's 3 of them, all use the methyl groups to operate, and so therefore the key here is that the MSM that I'd come up with before turns out that it's a lot more powerful as a methyl group than it is as a sulfur group, even though the sulfur group is a key issue in things like keeping your tissue soft and getting rid of the arthritis and things like that. These methyl groups supercharge your system, and then I go on in the book talking about awareness and how awareness keys in with the methylation, how your attitude is everything. So that's that book. Really an interesting topic, I think. Was interesting enough for me to think I ought to write a book about it. Dr. Bruce Lipton was one of the main people to come up with epigenetics, and his background was in developing genetic profiles and things like that back in the 1970s, I believe. But Bruce is a big influence on the web. You ought to pay attention to him. But his expertise goes only as far as the subconscious level, and my understanding goes with Bruce and Rich Price is my partner, has gone much further than that, and the key is that when he works on people spiritually and heals them, he's working above the subconscious. I don't think there's anybody on the web right now that talks about working above the subconscious. But when you can do that, it's like flying over a person in an airplane and looking down on them spiritually. And the higher you fly, the more you see about their lives. So that's the key to that book. Goes pretty far. Next book that I want to talk about, Surrender to the Oneness, is almost totally spiritual book. It has quite a bit about it, genetics and whatever else, and the subtopics. But it's about surrendering to the oneness, which is the oneness being God, and knowing how to do that and learning how to do it is key to your life. If you can get this down, if you can get this book down, and it's a short book, so you can read it in 2 hours, I think. If you're a quick reader, I think it's 72 pages, something like that. But this is the heart of what I've been trying to do all along, and the reason I introduced the MSM in the first place was to get people's attention, so that I could somehow or another get to them spiritually. It's a hard job. Somebody's got to do it. All right, so that's that one. Okay, the last thing I want to comment on, it doesn't have anything to do with books, is that I start all my videos with fractals, showing you fractals, and the fractals are first off geometry, sacred geometry, if you will, and then I vortex them into a circular fractal like that is very, very similar to, if you look at hurricanes from the top. These fractals will heal people, and they do a lot of things that most people are not aware of, or haven't ever been aware of since ancient times. But fractals are marvelous things, and they do things that you couldn't possibly believe. We're using them in all kinds of different ways. One of them is to run cars. We run cars on fractal impregnated crystals. Strange as that may seem, it actually works. And what they do is they supercharge an engine or a person in ways that you couldn't possibly believe. So that's that story.